Welcome into episode 27 of Just Another Podcast, hosted by yours truly, Just Another Chris. And today, I sit down with Will, or better known as Double Negative from YouTube. I have been loving his content, and I got to meet him recently in person, so I definitely had to get him on the podcast. We talk about his obsession with shopping carts and what he's doing with them. We deep dive into the Polaroid Flip. I get his thoughts on the camera, as well as the Lomo Instant Wide Glass. And for all you members of the Spitfire Club, there is a massively long section where Will and I deep dive into Superman and James Gunn. We have a huge nerd out towards the end of this podcast, exclusively for you members. So sit on back and enjoy episode 27 of Just Another Podcast. Will, aka Double Negative, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and so for the people at home that don't know who you are, why don't you tell fine people what you're all about?
So Double Negative is my YouTube channel, and the tagline is that I'm a photographer that talks too much. And essentially, my whole thing is I do, it's kind of turned into essentially like a video essay kind of podcasty thing, usually about Polaroid, about other sorts of photography things. Sometimes I talk about movies, usually whatever is on my mind in a week. And I put it together in a video on most Mondays. So, and then I have I'm building a universe just around talking about photography, essentially. It's pretty much it.
I like that. That sounds pretty exciting. As the fine people know, I'm mostly known for the Polaroid world, so you're speaking my language a bit. Now, but outside of Polaroid, though, you shoot other film. What's your favorite film type to shoot?
So I originally probably started digital in photography. So I do a little bit of everything. I would say Polaroid instant film is kind of my favorite. Then a tier below that would be 35 millimeter is just, it's easier. I like little cheapo point and shoot cameras. I like to just, I like mistakes. I like things going wrong. And it feels a little less, I don't know, what's the word? It's like a little less serious feeling with 35 millimeter. And I like medium format too, but those are probably my favorite.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I like to shoot both those, especially like the I guess would be considered the toy type cameras, like the soda can 35 millimeters, or I have this M&M camera I need to actually end up shooting with, but like those are it's just fun. There's weird mistakes in them, right? It's lo-fi kind of. Outside of that, how long have you been shooting just photography in general? Like, what got you into it?
So I've been shooting for about 15 years now, since 2009. And basically back then, like, I didn't really watch YouTube about photography. I don't think there really was much to watch as far as YouTube goes. But I just bought books, photography books. Scott Kelby, he had a whole series of books on how to be a photographer, and I would go to Borders or Walden Books, or one of these, older bookstores that don't exist anymore.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, and I would go there and I would unload I had a job as a teenager, and I'd just unload my paychecks on books about photography. And then I got into peel apart Polaroid film. When it was $8 a box, which was like, it's like, to me, it like bums me out how much I just burned through without a second thought. But yeah, so I did peel apart, and then I got into, not 600 film, Spectra. I had a Polaroid Spectra, and Impossible was doing the Spectra stuff. And it would get jammed a lot, it was like a pain in the butt to do most of the time, but I liked double exposure photography. That was like my big favorite thing, and Spectra was the best way to do that with Polaroid film. The peel apart was a lot easier because those cameras, had the little lever, so you could easily recock it.
Yeah.
So I was into doing double exposures with peel apart and spectra film. And then I didn't really do much with just regular 600 because I couldn't do double exposures. So it just wasn't as fun. And then those two kind of got discontinued,
Yeah.
sadly. And I took a hiatus from Polaroid film and I'm a full time photographer, so I did a lot of digital, and then 35 millimeter and 120, like a lot of 6x6, with my TLR, the one you look down into.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I got one of those.
And so yeah, and then I don't know. I've had every photography job under the sun, as far as like school photography and product photography and weddings and real estate and all that kind of stuff. And but I've always had this side where I just wanted to talk about the art of photography, the art side, mixed with my interests in like movies and some nerd stuff. And yeah, so it just has kind of morphed into what it is now, where like what I do now is kind of just pieces of everything I've done for the last 15 years all mashed together in a stew. So
That's pretty cool. That's an awesome story. When did you start your YouTube channel and start, posting your photography stuff?
So I originally started a blog in 2009 or 10 that was a blog spot where I posted all my photography, and I would like write posts about my thoughts, maybe even unrelated to the photos. I would just like post things. Then I did, I did a lot of, I've shared a lot on Facebook, and I shared a lot on my, like website and all that stuff. YouTube, I dabbled in like, I think my YouTube channel says I started it in 2011, but I've jumped in and out, and then Double Negative started in 2023. Gotcha. But there's been a couple iterations before that. So that's way too long of an answer to your question. But
No, not really. Because mine's similar, like in the sense, like my YouTube channel was I think it says 2008 when I made it, but I didn't actually start really posting videos until 2015. I think it was 2015, because this year actually technically marks 10 years for me on YouTube.
Oh wow, congrats.
Thank you. But I wasn't doing instant photography or photography on there. It was just like random whateverness. I used to own a retail store, so I'd randomly post like videos from the store. And I had another YouTube channel I started with a friend years ago, so that was started I think in 2014 or 2015 actually. I think it was at the same time. And yeah, and then so it just kind of evolved from there. But it wasn't until 2018 I created the Just Another Chris channel, but it still wasn't like, or excuse me, this channel turned into Just Another Chris, I should say. I changed the name, but I didn't really start posting instant photography stuff until 2020. But I dabbled in instant photography in 2018, but it was a mixture of, I was trying to figure out what the heck I was doing. That was what I call the Peter McKinnon era, where everyone wanted to be like Peter McKinnon. And so a lot of the content was like around like the influencer stuff, which I'm not really, and that wasn't really true to me, so I kind of just left that alone. And I was on other YouTube channels for years, but 2020 is when I like, hey, I'm going to actually do something full time on this channel. And then it was instant photography. So similar, like long story to tell it, like that you have. I think everyone has that. Any YouTuber creator, they just have to kind of like stumble around and find their way.
Can you imagine if like we were able to like be fully formed in 2008 as to what we were doing? I mean, like because I think sometimes I'm like, why couldn't I have just started as Double Negative or some form of it like years ago and just been cool with that? But for some reason, I was a lot younger. I was like distracted by a lot of stuff, and I couldn't just like be me. I had to like try a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
So
no, for sure. Like,
it'd be awesome.
My friend of mine, we have this conversation quite a bit, because he always comments and he's like, look, man, you're operating your channel like you have 2 million subscribers, and imagine if you had just done exactly what you're doing now, the way you're doing it 10 years ago. And I'm like, I know, it would have been amazing. And most of the people that do have like the big following were just because they started earlier and people found them sooner, right? And so then people become loyal to those channels or whatever, and the locked-in audience, as my friend likes to call them. But
well, sometimes I actually think that I think that with instant film and like Polaroid stuff, I think The problem is, well, the cool part about it is that it's really, I think it's some of the most fun photography stuff to make is about Polaroid and instant film, because it still feels like a new frontier now that, we're kind of starting over with formulations and that kind of stuff, and new cameras are coming out. Like, it feels fresh and new. But I think that also, because of that, the audience for instant film stuff is still pretty small in the scheme of photography. So it feels like if you want to start a Polaroid or instant film centered YouTube channel, it's like there's like a ceiling right now where you're kind of stuck in a certain spot for now, at least, while as Polaroid and stuff grows. I don't think that ceiling is fixed, but I do feel like there's a film photography ceiling. I think there's digital photography is like the ceiling is, there is almost no ceiling now, but there is a ceiling. But there's a few parts of the photography that's like a niche within a niche, and I think Polaroid is in there.
Oh, 1,000%. Like, my channel is pretty much hit the ceiling nearly. I've got maybe 10,000 more subscribers to go, and it's like, boom, capped. For instant photography. It's just very small, very niche, because film photography is already a niche, right? Community, and then narrow that niche community down even further. There's only a small percentage that do instant photography, at least in the sense of, I guess taking it seriously is a way to say it, because a lot of people have like Instax mini cameras just on their shelf, but they're not an instant photographer. They just like to take pictures once in a while. And so then there's the people that are actually in it. And that's a very small community, and my channel is pretty much there at the cap.
I mean, your videos are what kind of, I think if you search Polaroid, your videos are kind of what comes up, and your thumbnails are very striking and very unique. So how do you stand out in the noise? Well, I don't know if I found it, but it's definitely something. I get comments about it, and my default response is, when people do comment, I just say, hey, you clicked the video and you left this comment. That's right.
So it worked.
I will say, in the world of photography, I would say that I think part of the contribution to the ceiling that there supposedly is in different tiers of photography is that I think photographers, me included, need to work on their thumbnails, their thumbnail game. But I think that you've got some of the most gripping thumbnails in the game, because it's like, no matter what, I'm always like, I see yours. Like, if I see my home screen, I'm like, oh, there's Chris's thumbnail,
Hey, man. Oh, yeah. There's people. So it's funny you bring all that up, because earlier this year I hosted my first mini photo event. And there were some people that showed up and I was talking with them, and they're like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, I didn't watch your stuff for years because I was off put by your thumbnails. Like, I didn't click it. I refused to click it. And then one day I just decided I'll click it, and I'm like, oh, this is nothing like what I thought I was going to watch. And so I'm like, that's an interesting takeaway. Like, I'm missing out maybe on a lot of opportunities from new viewers. But this person gave it a shot, and then, hey, they got to meet him in person. They show up to an event because of it. But
clearly they had thoughts about your thumbnails, which might be more important,
Yeah. Every now and then I'll go down. I don't really use Reddit for anything. I never really jumped on that wagon, but every now and then I will go on there and just search Polaroid and see what people are talking about. It kind of helps for like video ideas. And every now and then I'll get someone's talking about like my channel and stuff, and it's always the thumbnails. It's always like, guy with the weird thumbnails. They're like, if you can get past that, he's got good information. I'm like, oh, well, okay. I mean, I don't know if that's, maybe I should address it. I don't know.
I would wear that as a badge of honor.
Do you struggle displaying your instant photography photos, such as Polaroid and Instax? Well, guess what? Today's podcast sponsor has you covered. A Little Home has an insane lineup of acrylic photo frames for Polaroid, Instax, mini, square, wide, Polaroid Go. They've got them all. And best part is they're on Amazon. So you can use your Amazon Prime and get free shipping. And even better than that, they're offering you a special discount code. If you use 10 just Chris, they'll save you 10% off your entire order. You can find the links to the frames in the description below. Thank you at Little Home for sponsoring today's podcast episode. And now back to your regular scheduled programming. Yeah, the other thing is my intro. That's another thing everyone talks about. The thumbnails and my intro, that's too long that I put in. I've kind of dialed it back a little bit, but I had like a short, well, it used to be like way too long. It was like a 30-second intro. I used it twice in the early days, and then I shortened it to like a 15-second, which is still too long.
You could do the cable TV thing, like back, which I know what your intro is referencing, the like everybody hates Chris thing. Is that it's actually like kind of, or oh no, my name is Earl.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
okay. There you go.
I knew I was like near there. Because I remember, because I've watched your intro and I'm like, it was sparking my youth, and I was like, cable TV, they would have shows and they would kind of change the length of the intro periodically. You know what I'm talking about? Where like the first one of the season would be like the long version, and then the next episode might be like a little short, cut down version of the intro. I mean, you could do that, but the vibe of your intro is very familiar, so I think that works in your favor.
Yeah, I always love that show. But yeah, I've messed with that. So and it's funny because the times that I haven't used the intro, I'll get comments like, "Hey, where's the intro?" Or the times I have cut it down, because lately I've just been doing like the stinger version, right? That's kind of what you're talking about, where it's just it's just me and it says, "I'm just another Chris," and like the logo pops on. I've been putting that in, and people will comment like, "Hey, where's the full version?" So there's people that like it and expect it and want to see it, but then there's other people that are like, "Oh, I skip it every time."
You can't please everybody.
Can't please them all. But
you just got to do you.
I know. And the thing is, though, on YouTube, as you probably know, like you have to pay attention to that retention time, right? You have to pay attention to when people are skipping and clicking through the videos, because you want them to watch, at least 30 seconds before doing anything, like right before they skip or just close out, right? And just close your video out altogether. And on my graph, I can just see it. It's just like the first few seconds, boom, just drops in viewership. Like, that's where my intro is.
Maybe I have a bad point of view. So like I look at my analytics and learn some stuff, and I'll watch back some of my videos and be like, oh, I see why that dropped off, because I took too long to get to the point or whatever. But every once in a while, I'm like purposely, just to be, I guess, an antagonist. Sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to break into something just insane that almost feels disconnected from the video, just as a dig to the analytics, just to see what happens, So I feel like I kind of have fun with, watching the audience retention drop, especially if I kind of was like, this is going to kill audience retention, and then I just watch it drop and I'll have a chuckle to myself. So I don't know. I think it's a little that we can get so in the weeds of the data when really at the end of the day, like, we're doing this YouTube thing because we love to do it. And so we can't be like, because if I took into account every analytic, every data point, I'd go insane. Like, we just can't. We're talking about Polaroid film. We're not doctors. We're not doing anything like overly serious. So I don't know. I try to prioritize me having fun, because the video's always going to be better, even if the analytics don't always love it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. But no, that kind of goes back to a little bit what I was mentioning before, where when I was in my Peter McKinnon days, like I said, or that's how I like to refer to it, but it wasn't true to myself, right? I wasn't having necessarily fun. I was just trying to do what everybody else was doing. And then the moment I let that go and just start doing things for myself, like having fun, like doing wacky intros and just messing with the thumbnails, like just doing something different, the viewership came, the subscribers came, because those are the target audience, which I didn't know I was doing, right? I didn't know I was like necessarily, I was just trying to have fun. But to get us back a little more on the photography side of the things, instead of just YouTube, I could go all day talking about YouTube stuff. But I'm curious to know, because later at the end of the podcast, I could do questions from the audience, from Instagram followers, and there's a couple in there that I'm going to ask from them. But I want to kick it off early and start with, I would love to know your thoughts on the Polaroid Flip, because it's been a hot topic on my channel for a while. People love it, people hate it. I've used it a few times. It even got me in trouble with Polaroid, which we can talk about in a minute. But I'd love to know your thoughts on that camera.
Polaroid Flip. I really love the Polaroid Flip. I took it on a cross-country road trip. I took it to Polacon in New York. So I spent a prolonged amount of time with it over the past 3 or so months. And yeah, it's just easy to use. The thing about the Polaroid Flip is that I think the best part about it is that there's almost not much to say about it. It is super simple. There's 3 buttons. It just you flip it open, and it doesn't have quirks. It just takes pictures. I mean, it kind of does what Instax cameras kind of do, where we don't really think about the Instax cameras very much because they're kind of plasticky and like not that cool seeming, overall. But they take, if you want to snap a photo of your friends at a party, you take it and it works, and it's fun, and it feels good. And I think the Flip captured that in a way that I2 didn't. The I2 is just a really like ornery camera. It's like finicky. It takes some time to get used to it, and the Flip takes no brain space. And it's satisfying to open.
Okay.
So ultimately, I really like the Flip, and ultimately, like with my double exposure stuff, I'm able to do a lot of the stuff that I like to do with it, so that makes me happy. And it's durable. I've dropped it a couple times, and as long as it's closed,
Really,
it's like a tank. So
okay.
So yeah, I think the Polaroid Flip is a really good addition, and I think it's actually probably what Polaroid needed to make to sell it to like the crowd that would buy film at Target. A lot. Like
okay.
I always see Polaroid stuff at Target, and I always wonder like who's buying this over Instax. I guess like the Polaroid name is everybody calls Instax Polaroids, but I think the price point of Polaroid stuff is still in that, like, if you just look at prices of Instax compared to Polaroid, like the average person's probably going to pick Instax because to them there's not really a huge difference, so I think the Flip is kind of good for everybody ultimately, and like a really good. I can recommend it to anybody. So it kind of took a load off because I couldn't recommend the I2 to everybody, but I can recommend the Flip to everybody. So I think overall, like, it's a really solid Polaroid camera.
I like hear other people's inputs, and I think what really just comes down to is how Polaroid's quality control was that day when they made the cameras. Because I have kind of the opposite. Not fully.
Oh, interesting.
Not fully, because like the i2 when it came out, it kind of wasn't the greatest, but then they did a firmware update and it fixed everything. Like, for me, all the issues that I was kind of having with it was mostly just the weird exposure choices. I ended up bringing it to Japan, and that was like that was pretty much the main camera I used the whole time I was there. And it served me really, really well. The Flip, on the other hand, I don't own it. Someone sent it to me to test out. I've done a few videos on it, and it's been just okay, right? Fine. And, it kind of works most of the time. There's been some times where it's missed focus to where it was using the wrong lens, so that it was just like a softer shot. It had that happen.
I've had that happen before, yeah.
And exposure seems to be kind of all over the place. I've tested it in a few different scenarios. And I even recently put out a video where I pit it against the Sun 660, which is technically the new version of it, and I felt the Sun 660 outperformed it like drastically as far as exposure went. Now, other people are agreeing with my reviews because I've done 2 of them, but others are saying the opposite, saying no, mine's not that way. Like mine's like they even sent me like photos in my DMs like this is the photos I get from it. And I mean, I'm sure that's what they're getting, and that's great. But when I do videos, and maybe you can relate, but we can only review what's in our hands, right? It's like, this is what we're shooting with.
Mm-hmm.
This is the results I'm getting. Here's the scenario that I'm doing it in. But at the end of the day, you're at the mercy of the quality control of not just the camera, but also the film itself.
So I put it head to head against the I2 for a video,
I think I
and
did
I
see
got
that one.
distracted. Yeah, I got distracted in the video because I could not. I I bought two packs I bought a pack of film at Target, and then I had a pack of film here, and they just reacted totally differently. And the
Mm,
pack that I put in the I2, which was one that came out of my fridge, just was like dark and not very good. And then the flip photos that I bought from the pack I bought from Target and put in the flip, like, were amazing. And so I went down a rabbit hole of realizing, like, the film formulation is basically like batch to batch,
yeah.
which I've picked up on and has been, like, seems to be the case with Polaroid, is that
Mm,
they're tweaking batch to batch. But when I took the flip on a road trip, some of the photos I got were kind of mind-blowingly good with the flip, to the point where the people I was with who didn't shoot Polaroid almost, like, they're tempted to buy a flip because of the results I was getting in, like, Joshua Tree and stuff.
wow.
So it really is, like, I've seen some, like, mind-blowing results from the flip that I don't know my I2 could achieve. But I will admit that at the end of the day, like, if it comes to my passion or my what my choice would be of Polaroid camera at any given time, I'm probably picking up my I2 above anything, even
Hmm.
though it can be kind of a finicky,
Yeah.
annoying camera. Like, I love the process of using it more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I agree. Even though it's hard how to explain this. There's a price difference, right? So whenever I talk to people, like, what's the best camera you want me to like, or have me recommend? Right? What's the best camera I should get? I'm like, it's hard. It's always a hard question to answer, because there's like five, because I don't know what your price budget or what your use case is going to be. But the i2, in the beginning, had some issues, and it's definitely come around with their updates. And I'm hoping that maybe, like, they'll continue that with the flip, because I don't know if they've done too many updates. And I've checked the camera that I had, and it was fully updated. That was something that people were leaving in the comments. I'm like, well, if you watched the full video, you would know that I did mention
yeah,
that it was
there was an
updated.
initial there was an initial update when it
Mm,
came out, and I think it was just bug fixers. It was nothing. It wasn't anything big, but
yeah. The i2, though, was a drastic one. They came out and said that. They're like, hey, look,
yes,
this
yeah,
was, they fixed the overexposure problems.
yeah.
Yeah, which was rough, which is fine. Once if you knew that, you could just immediately just dial it. I got in the habit of just dialing
Yes.
it to -1 every time, and it was
I had
fine.
to relearn how to shoot after the update, actually.
Yeah, I did tell him, like, why am I against this dark images? Oh, I don't have to
Yeah,
underexpose.
yeah,
So, but yeah, the flip it's been an interesting. I don't know, when they originally announced it, I was like, this is kind of a weird thing to just put out. I thought it just doesn't fit. At least it's a weird fit in the line of cameras they have on the market, because they just put out the Gen 3 Now Plus, and then, like, a month later they came out with the Flip, which the Flip is $200, and then the Now is like 140, 150 depending where you go, and then they have the regular Now at 120, which that's a weird. The pricing of everything is so weird, and then the i2 has been fluctuating from 350 to 600. And I think it's at 500 right now. I don't understand what
yeah.
Polaroid's doing over there, but
Yeah, I do. I do think that if you look at the lineup, like, I don't like. I personally, and I've said this on my channel before, like, I haven't had good experience with the Now line of cameras
yeah,
that much. Like, I've always been frustrated with my results with those. And to me, I think, in my experience with the flip, like, I don't like. I'm always just going to tell people, if they're starting Polaroid, just get a flip instead of a Now. Like,
hmm,
that 50 extra bucks is, like, doesn't seem like much of a
yeah,
huge gap. Um, and then yeah, and then I guess or a Go. I guess people like that. I've never used a Go.
I love it.
But but yeah, the i2 feels to me like a $350 camera. I think in my heart.
Which one?
I think when I bought it, it was what, $600
Oh, the
when it
i2.
first came out.
Yeah.
Yes.
I paid. Yeah, I
So
paid
I think a
six.
350 feels better to me with the i2. But again, it's like we're talking about this, like we said before, like this niche thing where it's like we're getting a lot of special attention to instant film
Yeah.
that we haven't had or thought was like impossible, no pun intended,
Right.
years ago. And so to me, I think like I kind of like this place we're in where it feels like there is some beta test quality to some of these things because down the road as it gets more developed, I feel like I'll have all of my work and all my stuff where I got to, play around with this, early iteration of the new Polaroid, and so to me, I like the quirks because the quirks are gone from photography in every other, like digital. There are no quirks in digital.
Right.
There's no unpredictability, and in Polaroid, there's just so much of it, and I find that fun. Like I enjoy that. I don't really even mind that much that the formulation is inconsistent. Sometimes it's annoying when I'm trying to get certain particular results that I just
Yeah.
can't. But overall, I think with my style of photography, I often let the film and the kind of dictate where my photos go a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. And a lot of people think I hate Polaroid, and that's actually not true.
That would be ironic,
no.
based on all your videos. If
I
you
know.
you only were built on hate for Polaroid.
I know. Man, Polaroid even thinks I hate them, but no, I don't. They're still my favorite to shoot. But they and I agree with like what you said. Maybe with maybe one exception, like as the consumer side of it. Because when I made my YouTube channel, I had to like kind of like put some things aside. I'm like, what's my goal for the channel, right? Like, and so my goal was to like test products and see if it works, right? Like make sure it actually works like it says it's supposed to, regardless of the artsy side of things. Because at the end of the day, people are buying this with their money and expecting it to work the way it should. And so when I review products like from Polaroid specifically, they've had two cameras that weren't so great, the Now Plus and the Gen 1 and Gen 2. They were massively like overexposing the photos, and that's costing money and potentially discouraging new people from getting into the hobby. And that's not what we want. We want more people in this because it keeps those people around a lot longer. But during that time period, everyone thought I was just hating on Polaroid, which couldn't be further from the truth. Just trying to hold them accountable a little bit and make them see that there's a problem and fix it. And they did with the Gen 3. It works. It doesn't overexpose the photos anymore. So I agree with what you were saying with like the weird quirks that it has, because sometimes I outside of making videos, I actually enjoy that because sometimes they get some weird, crazy stuff happening, and I think that's cool. But then the other side of that coin is if I'm reviewing a product, like it's hard to not point that out as an issue, because a lot of these people like aren't us. Right, they're kind of like photographers that like that artsy quirkiness, lo-fi, whatever. They're wanting to capture a moment with their family to have a physical photo, and they're gonna look at it and be like, well, this looks like trash, So I have to find that balance in my videos.
It's funny because I think that I have a different goal with my channel in that I think I happened into some of the, especially with Polaroid, the talking about the products thing. But really, I did it because I decided to get back into Polaroid because when the i2 came out and I realized, I can easily make double exposures on Polaroid again. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I bought the i2, because I had a Now and it was frustrating to use. But then the i2 came out and I thought, this solves my problems. And so then I just wanted to make cool work with the i2. That was kind of the ultimate goal behind my YouTube channel, was like I wanted to document and talk to other people about just making cool images with whatever you have. So it kind of, I think I look at my channel as more philosophical education around what to do with our cameras. But then when I was doing my Polaroid 365 project, I kind of unintentionally became a Polaroid source, a source for Polaroid information, which is fun to me because Polaroid, there is interesting stuff to talk about in a way that I could not be a Fujifilm or Nikon or Canon. I couldn't have enough interesting things to say about that stuff. But with Polaroid, there is. And so to me, I think I have a lot more, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a better word than like, I don't have high expectations for the products. I kind of, anytime I purchase a product, I kind of put it through a filter of, will this help me get to all my ideas that I'm trying to like express in photography?
Yeah.
And so you don't see me buying now. You don't see me really digging into Instax all that much. You don't see me getting a Go. I kind of stick with the Polaroids and stuff that kind of fit with the photos I want to produce. And that leads me to like what you're saying is like, I get people who are frustrated that they buy a flip and they can't do necessarily what they've seen me do with it. Or they're not getting the results that I've gotten. And so that's the tricky part is I have been doing it for a while and I have a certain style, and a lot of my photography technique is based on the vibes I'm feeling in the moment. So like people ask how to use the i2 and get around some of the weirdness. And sometimes I'm kind of like, I don't know. I kind of just like pick it up and I just kind of like talk to it like the Force. I'm just like, yes, this is what you want to do right now. And because I've just practiced with it a lot.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of in this weird, I'm less of a good direct source for Polaroid stuff as far as the products go, if that makes sense.
Sure. No, totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And
so that's why I'm never like going, I'm not reviewing really a ton. I review when I feel like I want to review something, but I don't ever see my job as like reviewing anything really.
Yeah. And it's funny you bring that up actually, because this past couple of months I felt like I'm in a crossroads of what, because I'm reviewing so many products, and to be honest, most of them I don't care about. I would never actually personally use this, but I know it's helping the community because they're asking, people are like, hey, I want to buy this camera. Is it good or not? So I'll get it, test it out, try it, find out if it's good, find out if it's bad, whatever it might be. And I enjoy that to an extent, but I would never actually own this camera. I would only own like 3 or 4 cameras and call it good, but I've got like 40 of them sitting on the shelf because I'm like reviewing these cameras, right? So I'm feeling at crossroads. I'm like, I think I'm going to step away from doing reviews on probably 99% of cameras. I know that's going to probably like just drastically drop my viewership because that's the reason that they're really here on the channel. But at the same time, I want to go back to just the fun stuff, kind of like what I'm kind of gathering what you're saying, and just go out and actually just shoot photos. Not like really overanalyze the pictures or how they're coming out, because I feel it's just taken away from the fun of myself even doing it in the first place. So the last couple of months I've been like really figuring things out of like what's my next move, what's my next steps or next stage of what I want to actually do. And what I want to do is just go shoot photos, have fun, meet people, interview people, tell stories. So there's gonna be a revamp. So anyone listening, sorry, I'm probably cutting back my reviews of cameras, because really it's only hurt the channel when it comes to companies, because the companies haven't liked me very much.
Well, I think with reviews, I think that there's a natural play. I have kind of a, I don't want to say secret because I would like people to know about it, but I have like on my Substack, the Double Negative Dispatch, I have like this podcast I do for paid subscribers, and it's about it's called Photography is Dead, and it's about kind of current things in the photography world. And so next week's, which hasn't come out yet, but I just finished it, is about this idea of like why camera reviews seem like they're getting boring to us, or we're kind of tired of them or whatever. And I think the reason is just a natural progression of you go from a beginner and camera reviews and like all this different stuff is like really interesting to you, or it's interesting for a time, but then eventually you're kind of looking for like a bigger meal, you know? And I think with people who make reviews, I think, because I couldn't maintain making reviews for a long period of time because I'm like, I have attention span problems, but like, I think that there is a template to reviews that does get kind of old, and eventually you want to do something else. And so I don't think it's like, it feels like there's a backlash to people talking about gear more than anything. And I feel like it's not, I don't feel like it's bad to talk about gear, but I do think everybody is going at their own pace. And I think when you have an onslaught of beginners, like during COVID, where I feel like a ton of people got into photography. Yeah. I feel like we've kind of reached this crest where a lot of those people who got into photography during COVID are now not as into reviews and they want something else. And so I think if you're one of the YouTube people who make reviews, then you're probably like, even if you've been doing it for a long time, you always hit a point where it's like, I want to do something else. Yeah. And so I think that's like normal. And I think that is understandable because it is paint by numbers in some ways. You know, it's sure. It does feel like work because you're having to kind of create organized thought around something you didn't make. And that's, I don't know, it's tough. It's a tough place, but it's a place that I think is like perfectly like normal and natural to get to. But that's the fun of YouTube, is you're not locked into a format. You can go off and experiment. No, absolutely. Your head right there, that is perfect. I couldn't agree more. The other part of it is that since I do this full time, I do YouTube full time. That's my job for myself and other people. And at the end of the day, right? Like I enjoy the YouTube channel. This one is, I have fun with it. Like I said, I want to make some tweaks to make it more fun, so I don't burn out and everything like that. But even at what I'm doing at its highest, like it doesn't pay the bills. So that's the other point of where I'm at. I'm like, well, if I'm going to do a channel and pour time and money and effort into it and it doesn't pay the bills at the end of the day, well, I might as well do the things I just want to do for fun, because what's the point? And so that's the other factor that I'm in. And it helps that I have another channel that I work on that sounds like I might be moving into a more producer role over there, and taking control of this other channel, and that'll pay. So that I can maybe just start focusing a lot more time and effort into that, and then just start doing just the fun stuff here, going out, just taking pictures, adventures, things like that, and not really worry about doing reviews, because they cost a lot of money. This channel, as you could probably relate, it costs a lot of money to operate, with film, buying the cameras, and then I could throw in travel, I guess, into the mix, because you have to go find things to go take pictures of instead of just being the same exact thing over and over and over again. Which that's the other thing I'm at. Yes. Like, dang, I can't go review this camera because I have to go somewhere. Otherwise, we're going to the same spot. Yeah, and see, for me, it was kind of, I was doing all that stuff anyway, and I was spending all that money traveling and making these photo projects, and I was like, I feel like I need to incorporate YouTube in it so I can actually get the word out about the work I'm doing better. So, like, to me, it's like I've always had this aspect of spending way too much money on projects I wanted to do, and YouTube kind of just gives me the justification where it's like, when the i2 came out, I have no inside track to Polaroid. I don't know when they're doing anything. I just wake up one morning and the i2 is out, and I'm like, well, here we go. It does double exposures. Guess I'm spending $600 today, and it's just, so there are days like that where I'm just like, no, I think this would make sense. Like the Flip, same. I didn't know it was coming out. I'm like, well, I guess this makes sense. Like, I guess I'm buying a camera today, and there is an expense that sometimes doesn't always get paid off by the channel or whatever. No. But to me, I have so many different, I like to always be doing a lot of things. I have a lot of things going on just because I do full time, just different income streams and different clients and stuff. So to me, my number one rule with YouTube is just like, I'm going to do what I want to do with it first. And if it pays, which it pays a little bit now, but it's like, then great, even better, and if I could somehow make that a decent income stream of me just doing the stuff I want to do and talk about the stuff I want to talk about, then that's just like gravy. It's amazing, so
For sure.
so I try to just do. It's also going to be better if I'm doing what I'm interested in as well. Here we are talking about YouTube again.
Yeah. No, it's full circle, full circle.
Yeah.
So on that note, let's go over to some audience questions. There's some good ones. We'll start out with an easy one. Wayfairing Stranger 121 asks, how does he get his hair to look so dang good?
Oh, wow. I have no real answer to that other than I just have always done my hair the same way. I get out of the shower and I run my hands through it, and then I go about my day. So that's funny.
There's also a follow-up question from them. I'm assuming the first one was a joke. What does Will love about the Flip, and how do both of your opinion / experience differ? Kind of answered that a little bit, but is there anything else you could maybe expand on?
I will say, to the negative of the Flip, I would say that me personally, it's not as fun to use as other Polaroid cameras. In fact, I haven't talked about this on the channel. This is a
exclusive
big development. But I may have gotten an SLR 680.
Ooh, nice.
That is really sweet, and I tend to prefer with regular cameras the SLR style cameras.
Yeah. Because
I like to see what I'm gonna get, and I'm having a lot of fun shooting SLR. I have an SX70, but I haven't converted it, and so it just doesn't. It's not always fit for the job. But this one with the flash and the sonar and the 600 film, like it just feels good. So I think the Flip doesn't have as much personality as I would like. Ultimately, I think at the end of the day.
Yeah. My other expansion, which is also, I guess, on the negative side, is that it's shrunk down, like squished, right? And so when you try to look through the viewfinder, it doesn't like fit. The back of the camera hits your cheekbone before you can actually look through the viewfinder. I don't think it's very comfortable.
Oh, interesting. I will say the viewfinder on the i2 is like HD compared to the Flip. So there are little nits to pick with the Flip, but overall, I would say I'm positive on the Flip. I enjoy it. I recommend it to people often. So I'm pro overall. So
nothing wrong with that. I still, my final thought on it is that I still recommend it. Some people think I don't like it. I'm like, I think it's fine camera. It's fine. I don't think it's mind blowing. At least the one I have, right? The one I can only go off with the one that's in my hand. I may have to get another one to try it out and see if that changes. But I still, even with the one I've got, I think it's fine and recommend it. But this is not orgs. I know this person. I met them in person. I should know how to say their username. What's your next obsession after you lose your shopping cart appeal?
Okay.
My follow up to that would be, what's your obsession with shopping carts?
So it's interesting. You're getting. It seems like you're getting questions from people that have actually watched, which is good. So yeah, shopping cart. So I do it in the intro of my podcast. I've done a little less lately, but I'm doing this project of abandoned shopping carts for anyone that does not know, where I started finding abandoned shopping carts in funny places and positions. I just started documenting them, and now I have hundreds of photos of abandoned shopping carts across the country, in the desert, here in South Carolina. I've got some where they're like leaned up against trees. I got one in Palm Springs behind the Marilyn Monroe statue. Like there are abandoned shopping carts everywhere. And so I've got an ongoing photo series where I've been documenting them, and I think I'm going to make probably a zine with them.
Okay.
But as far as after the shopping carts, I actually had a meeting this week talking about doing a couple shows, and like finish. I'm big about trying to finish projects I've started. So I will talk more about projects on my channel, but that is kind of, we jump from project to project. So I find it funny the way they ask that is like, when you get bored of this project, what's the next one? And that is kind of the cadence we have on Double Negative. So so TBD on that.
TBD. Okay. Not top friend of mine. He asks, how can you afford to travel so much?
The answer to that is that I can't.
We go into credit cards, baby.
Yeah, that's right. It's called credit cards. Yeah, Visa. Well, I travel a lot for. I've become a very efficient traveler. So oftentimes, if I'm going somewhere, it's because I have something else I need to be there for. So I drive a lot to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and that's where I post a lot of my photos of like that one particular spot I stop with the trees floating in the water. Is that I'm usually driving past there for work, to pick up prints to sell or do something. So there, usually I come up with ways for the trips to either pay for themselves or because the trip's already happening and I'm doing. So there's that. But then there's also like the road trip cross country. I just did it because I wanted to, and it did cost me. So, it depends. I figure it out, but also, if you live in the United States and you have a vehicle, the amazing part about the mainland U.S. is that in South Carolina, can drive to California, and it's pretty doable, and you can do it decently cheaply.
Just gas, baby.
Gas, or bring a tent or whatever.
Yeah,
so
just cost gas.
You figure it out. Yeah.
Exactly. Finagle. That's all I like to say. I do the same thing.
Yes.
I just finagle my way into scenarios to where I don't really have to pay too much.
Yes. Policon was one of those. Policon, New York was one of those that just like, there was no good way to like make that cheap.
Isn't it? That one is expensive. Very, very expensive.
Yeah. Yes. So I feel like the past few times I've traveled, there was just no way around the cost. So, but
yeah, New York in general.
It's the job. Yeah.
It's very expensive. This is a great question, and I'm dying to know your thoughts on it, actually. Mr. R. Amos 797 asks, does he still consider the Lomo wide glass a garbage camera that takes great photos?
Yes, I do. I mean, it takes really good photos. Every time I use that camera, it's like mind blowing, but it feels pretty cheap. Like I don't enjoy holding it or using it or anything like that.
Yeah. I guess that's a great way to put it. Because that camera is my favorite camera so far this year. But I would agree.
Yes, like, when I met you, you were carrying it with you. You had it on you when I met you. Yeah.
Not a sponsor, but Lamography. Please, they're one of the few that still like me. Shout out to you, Chloe. No, that camera is awesome. But I agree, it is a plastic camera. But then again, I mean, it is. How do I explain that? It's not the most expensive instant camera, but still like $300. I think it's like $280. Yeah. I think it's like $280. And yes, I did pay for it, just so everyone knows. I paid for that but I did get one as a loaner from them, but they made me buy it. But once I was done using it,
I paid for mine as well.
Yeah, like I'm like, I have to get this camera. They did give me a 10% off code though, so there was that.
Oh, cool.
They gave me 10% off because I told them like this camera is so cool, and I gotta. Yeah, the photos are just mind-blowing I can get from it. But it is a plastic camera. But then again, the Polaroid i2 is a plastic $600 camera with no interchangeable battery. So
I will say, like, it is fun. It is rich that I say that, and I love the Polaroid i2. because they are both plastic. But I think there's just something else about the Lomo glass cameras that feels like a step below the quality of the i2. Maybe it's the fake leather. I don't know, but it's the button feel is kind of like is weird. Anyways, I do love the photos it takes enough. Like I used it recently. I shot with it at a wedding. Because it looks crazy. So like people are instantly like, whoa, what are you shooting with? You know? So it's a crowd pleaser.
It is. I get comments.
But I have it next to my desk right now. And I do think like I need to take this out again and like make some interesting work with it because it does have a lot going for it for sure.
Yeah. The photos are sharp, mind blowing. There is something I learned recently with it. And that is maybe you've learned this too, but if you're indoors with that and you use the flash, you have to use exposure comp -1. Otherwise,
it's too bright.
It's too bright. It is too bright and it blows out your photos. So that wasn't in my original review. And that was an oversight. I didn't really shoot it indoors. I was just outside shooting with it. And then it wasn't until after I literally like the day I uploaded that video, I shot a photo inside and it was all completely pure. It was blown out, pure white. I'm like, oh, oops, I forgot to include that in the video.
I do like how the double exposure feature on it works though, because it lets you just keep shooting exposures until you're done. You basically have to tell it like when you're done, and that was something that was surprising because Polaroid they only let you do 4. And I don't know if I've hit a limit on this camera because you turn on the MX button, multi-exposure, and you just can keep shooting, and then you have to press it again when you're done. So it kind of that's kind of cool. I like how that works.
Yeah, no, I definitely like that camera. It's got a lot of cool features with it, especially when you can lock in the aperture on that. You can lock in f/22. I think that's pretty cool. It can be helpful in bright sunny day, bright scenarios.
Viewfinder's kind of whack on it.
That's the worst thing about it. The viewfinder on it is absolutely trash. Especially if you're shooting something within like 10 feet.
But you can pull it out and then put it in the middle, but then your film ejects and knocks it off.
Yeah, so you have to like that? Yeah, hold it, take a picture, remove it real fast. Yeah, because the photo I took of you, I slightly cut the top of your head off, ever so slightly.
That's okay.
Because
you don't need the top of my head.
That viewfinder is like, And I've missed multiple times too, like just something that's like a couple feet away, just trying to like get it lined up correctly because the viewfinder and the lens is so far off from each other. I wish they would fix that. But once you kind of learn,
it usually.
There you go.
I kind of just hold it out and kind of line up the lens with my sub. I kind of just do that. That's which looks ridiculous, but that's my solution. Is I just.
Well, we're get you out of here. I appreciate you coming on. Any final thoughts, wrap up things you want to shout out before we head out of here?
No, thanks for having me. Just I don't know. I appreciate the invite on here, and I had a good time. This is fun.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. And where can people find you across the interwebs?
Double Negative on YouTube is kind of seems to be the most relevant to this conversation, but I also do Substack, Double Negative Dispatch, and I today actually just came out with I've started to throw up some movie thoughts about movies, and so I threw out my thoughts on Superman and the James Gunn thing, his whole thing. So I'm going to start throwing some of the movie stuff in there too, just because I can't resist. So
there's a members extended version, and so I think this part will be in it. I just saw Superman last night.
Okay.
It was awesome. James Gunn has never failed me. Yes. I just gotta say that. I think we should wrap it up. the members got a really nerd out right now from us, which I love.
Yeah.
But again, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. And absolutely. I'm sure we'll see you around. Maybe coming back on for like a live stream. I keep talking about that. I've only done it a couple times where I've brought people back on the live stream. People can actually like watch and throw out comments and stuff. So I need to get that scheduled and get some more people.
I was actually preparing my heart for if this was live. Like I was like,
Oh.
I've seen him do live streams. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be live or not, so I better bring my A game.
Oh, yeah. I guess I should specify now. Not live.
Okay.
We were live the whole time. No. No. I'll catch you later, man. Oh, man. For you members, yeah, you got quite the little nerd out there. If you guys want to become a member of the Spitfire Club and watch that section, of course, there's a link in the description below. Ad-free, extended versions of the podcast, and so much more. Like monthly photos sent to your door. Pretty cool. We will have to get Will back on this show, maybe during a live stream, maybe another podcast, maybe a future video collab of some kind. Well, this is really cool, and we definitely got to have him back. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening, because yeah, this is also a video and audio podcast. Until next time, get out there and make some art.